In the world of basketball, Nike isn't just a sneaker company, it's an empire. For decades, the swoosh has stood for dominance, innovation, and cultural power. From Michael Jordan's iconic Jumpman to the LeBron era, Nike has controlled not just shoes, but the image of the NBA itself. But behind the billion-dollar commercials and glossy highlight reels, there's another story, one filled with tension, betrayal, and broken loyalty. Because while Nike built the brand of many stars, it also clashed with some of the biggest names in the league. This isn't just about shoes, it's about control. And when players refused to play by Nike's rules, they found out just how ruthless the brand could be. Before he became the face of Under Armour and one of the most marketable athletes in the world, Stephen Curry was a rising star on Nike's radar. Coming out of Davidson College in 2009, Curry didn't have the overwhelming athleticism or size that sneaker companies usually chase. But what he did have was undeniable: elite shooting, a humble persona, and an underdog story tailor-made for marketing gold. And yet, despite everything working in his favor, Nike completely dropped the ball in what would become one of the biggest endorsement missteps in sports history. It all started in 2013. By then, Curry had finished 4 seasons in the NBA. Though plagued with ankle injuries early on, he was beginning to show flashes of greatness.
Switch to Prigioni. Easy money for Steph Curry.
In the 2012-2013 season, Curry averaged 22.9 points, 6.9 assists, and 4 rebounds per game, while hitting a then record 272 three-pointers at a 45.3% clip, a number that would eventually seem small in hindsight. He was already redefining the art of the deep shot. Fans loved him, coaches raved about him, and sneaker companies were watching closely. At that time, Curry was already signed with Nike on a modest 4-year, $2.5 million deal, a standard rookie contract for a player of his draft stature. But with his breakout season, Nike had the opportunity to lock him down long-term. Instead, they fumbled the pitch in legendary fashion. When Curry and his father, former NBA sharpshooter Del Curry, attended the Nike pitch meeting, they were expecting something sharp, tailored, and respectful. What they got was amateur hour. According to ESPN's Ethan Sherwood-Strauss, who first reported the story in detail, the Nike team mispronounced his name during the presentation, calling him Stefan instead of Stephen. That was strike 1. Then came strike 2, the PowerPoint slide. The presentation deck still had Kevin Durant's name on it, recycled from a prior pitch. It was clear they hadn't even taken the time to create a presentation specifically for Curry. The Currys were stunned. This wasn't just lazy, it was disrespectful. And then came strike 3. Nike refused to allow Curry to host youth basketball camps under his name. They also declined to offer him a signature shoe immediately. Curry wasn't asking for LeBron money or Jordan treatment, just a seat at the table. But Nike wasn't willing to bet big. They offered less than $2.5 million per year on a new extension, and when they declined to match an offer from a rival brand, it became clear that Nike didn't see him as a cornerstone. That's when Del Curry knew the meeting was over. Nike, the most dominant brand in basketball history, had just let the greatest shooter of all time walk out the door, and didn't even realize it. Enter Under Armour. At the time, Under Armour wasn't even a serious player in basketball. They were known for compression gear, not high-performance sneakers, but they saw something Nike didn't: the future. Under Armour offered Curry a deal worth around $4 million annually, which included more than just a check. It included creative input, branding opportunities, and eventually, ownership stakes. They didn't just want Curry's face, they wanted his vision. Curry signed with Under Armour in 2013. 2 years later, in the 2014-2015 season, he won his first NBA MVP, while averaging 23.8 points, 7.7 assists, and leading the league in three-pointers made. He followed that up with a unanimous MVP in 2015-2016, the first in NBA history, averaging 30.1 points per game, shooting 45.4% from 3, and leading the Warriors to a historic 73-9 record. The shoes sold out instantly. The Curry 1, Curry 2, and Curry 3 all became massive hits. At the height of his popularity, Curry's shoe sales trailed only LeBron James and Kevin Durant, beating out the likes of Kobe Bryant and Kyrie Irving. Under Armour's stock skyrocketed. By 2016, Curry's signature line had helped the company's basketball shoe revenue surge to $264 million, and Under Armour credited Curry as being the single best driver of growth in their footwear division. Nike, meanwhile, was left with a marketing disaster. Not only had they lost Curry, they disrespected him. The fact that a non-Nike athlete had become the most electrifying player in the league, and arguably the most popular, was a serious blow to their image of invincibility. Curry had done the unthinkable. He built a sneaker empire outside the swoosh. In 2020, Under Armour launched the Curry brand, a direct competitor to Nike's Jordan brand. It was a full-scale partnership, giving Curry unprecedented creative control and profit sharing. He became more than a signature athlete. He became a co-owner of his brand's legacy. To this day, Nike has never recovered from the optics of losing Curry. In a league they once dominated from every angle, they let the most revolutionary shooter of all time walk away for pennies on the dollar. All because they couldn't be bothered to change a name on a slide or let a young star dream big. Stephen Curry wasn't just the one that got away. He was the one that proved Nike isn't invincible. Kyrie Irving's partnership with Nike began as a massive success. His signature line, launched in 2014, became a favorite across all levels of basketball, especially in the NBA, where his shoes were the most worn after Kobe Bryant's. At one point, the Kyrie line was Nike's second best-selling, even outselling Kevin Durant's. His sneakers were affordable, stylish, and built for performance. But Kyrie was more than just a player. He was outspoken, unfiltered, and often clashed with Nike's corporate image. While the brand tolerated it for years, tensions grew as Kyrie demanded more input and creative control. Then came 2021, a crack in the armor. Nike leaked images of the Kyrie 8, but Kyrie had nothing to do with it. He immediately took to Instagram writing, "I have nothing to do with the design or marketing of the upcoming Kyrie 8. In my opinion, these are trash. I have nothing to do with them. Nike plans to release it without my okay, regardless of what I say, so I apologize in advance." It was a bombshell moment. No Nike athlete had ever publicly disowned their own shoe. The post went viral, exposing how little input Kyrie had been given in a brand that had made millions off of his name. But things would only get worse. In November 2022, Kyrie found himself at the center of a major controversy. He posted a link on Twitter to the film Hebrews to Negroes, Wake Up Black America, a documentary widely criticized for promoting anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. When asked to explain, Kyrie initially refused to apologize, arguing he was merely sharing information and didn't create the film. His response sparked immediate backlash. The media called him irresponsible. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, who's Jewish himself, demanded a meeting. The Brooklyn Nets suspended him indefinitely, and public pressure mounted. After several days, Kyrie issued an apology on Instagram, saying he took full accountability and meant no harm. But Nike had already seen enough. The company suspended their relationship with Kyrie almost immediately, calling his actions deeply troubling. Not long after that, they terminated the partnership completely, canceling the release of the Kyrie 8. Years of work and revenue, gone overnight. Now, Kyrie is signed with Anta, a Chinese brand that gave him something Nike never did: freedom. He's not just endorsing a shoe, he's designing it, controlling it, owning it. For Kyrie, it's not just about sneakers, it's about sovereignty. If you know Kawhi Leonard, you know he's quiet, reserved, not the type to stir controversy. But when it came to his fight with Nike, Kawhi made one thing clear: he wasn't going to be played. It started with something simple: a logo. During his time with Nike, Kawhi worked with the brand to create the Claw logo, a handprint style graphic that incorporated his initials. It became a symbol of his identity as a player: silent, efficient, deadly. But when Kawhi left Nike for New Balance in 2018, he tried to take the logo with him. That's when the real fight began. Nike sued him, claiming they owned the rights to the design. Kawhi responded with a countersuit, saying the logo was his, sketched by his own hand, representing his personal brand. It wasn't just a court case. It was a battle over ownership and identity. For years, Nike had been in total control, crafting players' images, scripting their brands. But Kawhi pushed back. He wasn't asking for a bigger check. He was asking for freedom. The freedom to own what he helped build. The legal battle dragged on for months, but the message was clear. Kawhi wasn't going to let Nike dictate his story. And in choosing New Balance, he aligned himself with the brand that gave him space, silence, and creative control. Everything Nike refused to. The irony? Kawhi would go on to win a championship in Toronto, wearing shoes from a brand that hadn't mattered in basketball since the 80s, proving that sometimes walking away is the most powerful move. If Kyrie was the fire starter, Jaylen Brown was the voice that turned sparks into a statement. After Nike dropped Kyrie, Jaylen didn't stay silent. He spoke out, not just in defense of his friend, but as a critique of the entire system. Since when did Nike care about ethics? That line hit deep, because Jaylen wasn't just talking about Kyrie. He was pulling back the curtain on Nike's entire business model, the athletes, the culture, the marketing, all built off the backs of black creativity. And yet, when those same athletes wanted ownership, they were silenced or discarded. Jaylen Brown saw the game for what it was. He joined Donda Sports, the sports agency founded by Kanye West, another figure who had his own battles with Nike before leaving to launch Yeezy with Adidas. Jaylen's decision wasn't just about sneakers, it was about standing for something. In the NBA, most players stay quiet when it comes to business. They take the check, wear the shoes, and avoid rocking the boat. But Jaylen? He rocked the whole damn yacht. His public stance against Nike made him an outlier, a player willing to challenge the machine that made so many rich. But for Jaylen, it wasn't about money. It was about truth, about dignity, about making sure that players didn't just wear the brand, they owned it. Nike's grip on basketball culture is undeniable. From Jordan to LeBron, they've built legends. But in every empire, cracks eventually show. The stories of Steph, Kawhi, Kyrie, and Jaylen aren't isolated incidents. They're warnings. They reveal a pattern where Nike thrives off a players' talent, but falters when those players demand control. Stephen Curry was overlooked and disrespected. Kawhi Leonard was stripped of his own logo. Kyrie Irving was silenced and discarded. Jaylen Brown was vilified for speaking the truth. All of them found the same answer. Freedom doesn't come with a swoosh. In today's NBA, the landscape is shifting. Players are no longer just athletes. They're entrepreneurs, designers, activists. They want more than just a shoe deal. They want ownership. As more stars speak out and move on, the illusion of Nike's untouchability is slowly unraveling. Because if the brand won't evolve, then the players will evolve without it.